back to the FXNER Fam podcast. We are on what, episode 7 now?
A historic episode, by the way.
This is true.
Because this is the first episode. Well, let me preface this first. This is the second episode ever where I'm not wearing a hat. This is the second episode ever where Rajan is wearing a hat, which also makes this the first episode in FXNER Fam history that I am not wearing a hat and Rajan is.
Let's go, baby.
So
That's what I've been waiting for.
There you have it, folks. You're witnessing history here today.
Historic episode in the headwear community. I haven't really, obviously, like I said, when we first mentioned it, I didn't notice it.
It's might be controversial here. We might have some kickback on this.
What's going on here with the hats, man? They're trying to say there's secret messages and shit.
Blink twice.
Yeah, blink twice if you're okay. It's been a little break. Obviously, the holidays came up. We were thinking about getting a holiday episode out. That ended up not being filmed, but it's whatever. Obviously, it's the holidays. You don't want to be, really stressing about anything during the holidays or whatever. Obviously, an episode might not have even been seen by that many people because everybody's doing stuff with their family, traditions and stuff like that, watching movies, whatever the hell.
Vacations,
games,
whatnot.
Vacations, yeah. But I do have stuff relating to the holiday since we're still pretty close, but we're, in the tail end of the holiday season now where everybody's starting to take down their trees and shit like that. Lights are coming down, things like that. But I do have some things written down, things that are different about the holidays now versus when even before COVID or when you were younger or whatever.
Now, on holidays, we drink.
I mean,
so
I personally don't, but I mean, you do, so that's cool.
That's a big difference. I'm kind of like, holidays now, I want to chill with fucking all the adults and shit.
Yeah.
I want to chill with all the older people.
Yeah.
Back then it was like,
where's the toys? Let's play some shit.
Like, yeah, it's like, all right, where are the cousins at?
Yeah,
We're looking for the cousins.
Dude, that was some of the best memories though. Like getting to holiday parties and like you see your cousins you haven't seen, and depending on how your family is, whether you're close with your cousins or not. Most people, for the most part, from what I know, you don't live like down the street from your cousins.
Yeah.
So you don't see them every day. But
shit. Oh, the transition.
Mr.
It's
Noir.
Spider-Noir.
There we go.
Oh, we got the Spider-Man backdrop here.
Yeah, it's a little fitting. But yeah, I was saying, cousins, you don't really see them all the time, or you see them here and there, but you finally get to see them around the holidays when, everybody's in good spirit. Which is one thing I always notice about the holiday season is like, why is it that like only for the holidays, like even people who are like really down in life, they just like, and they're like, I'm happy, like.
I think it's just because, for a lot of people, it's like, it gives them an excuse to let loose a little bit.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Even though, like, what people got to understand is you can be like that anytime.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I mean. Like, why is it like that only, like, that time of the year people are, like, all dialed into
Some people see it as, like, there's some people who are like, I have to be like this time of the year. There's some people who are like, just like to see everyone else happy. So that people around them being uplifting and happy brings them up.
Yeah.
So
I would say
it's
that's
kind of more of a
though,
community thing than an individual thing.
My thing for me, though, was like, why is it that it only clicks on at one time of the year? You know what I mean? Like, everybody, it seems like everybody just, like, snaps to this, like, different, like, feeling of life. It's, like, so, like, I don't know why we can't just realize how to do that anytime. Like,
yeah, I think people just remember, like, around the holidays, their friendships and their family and their childhood and everything that, like, all the good memories they have around the holidays.
Yeah.
Is just what makes them happier.
I guess. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. I think, like, me, why I see it like that is, like, with everything, obviously I don't personally have any issue with it, but, like, some people have issues with mental health and stuff like that. It's, like, it seems like even people that I know who have issues with that around that time are just, like, completely different people, you know what I mean? So I feel bad in a way, like, I feel like that all the time, and, like, people, like, all of a sudden just for one little bit of time.
Yeah,
why
can't
days.
they always
like, it feels unfair type of thing.
Like that.
That's what I was saying. That's what I noticed, at least, especially now with, like, everything going on, is one thing I noticed that's kind of different. Because, like, before I still noticed it, but, like, it wasn't as, like,
it was a little different this year. Like, it didn't feel like Christmas until the day.
I didn't even on the day of Christmas, like, sure, hanging out with people, it felt like Christmas.
Yeah.
But, like, even I felt like it was more Christmas when I first saw like the snow the few days later.
Yeah,
I was like,
exactly.
damn,
I was like,
it's Christmas.
that's when not having snow on Christmas sucks.
That was literally my next point.
Yeah.
What is the catalyst event that fucking stops snow from like showing up on Christmas? Because there's
we didn't even have like sometimes you'll get like
a little dusting.
the weeks leading up. Like, we've had
nothing.
Christmases with no snow before, but throughout the whole season, you're getting,
you get some snow.
Flurries.
We don't get snow until January.
But it's like when 2020 fucking 2021, we had only snow for the first part of it.
Yeah, and then it was gone.
November and December. I remember a few years ago Thanksgiving was like,
dude, there was snow on Thanksgiving one year. I'm like, it was like not obviously a couple years ago, but like I was maybe in like sophomore
I remember
year.
it happening like last year or something.
Well, no, there was one recently that did, but there was, when it was consistent, in like early high school to like late middle school range in that area. I swear I could, like, on Thanksgiving we'd be playing football in the fucking snow.
Yeah.
Like now it's like it's rare to see snow. There was a year where it was snowing for so long. My first baseball game had snow. That's the fucking spring.
Yeah, now we get no outdoor hockey season or anything. And for anyone outside of Chicagoland area, that's what we're talking about right now. We live in, obviously live near Chicago, so
The Midwest
is
weather. As a whole, actually,
know.
I'm not going to say that because, like, in Minnesota, they're getting fucked with snow.
Yeah.
It's like, I've said this before, it feels like they literally just put a donut of snow around Illinois and everyone else gets it but us. Wisconsin got it. Iowa, Indiana, Minnesota, Michigan, everywhere except Illinois got fucking snow.
Yeah. It sucks.
Just
I wanted snow.
Throw some on top of
it, snow. I wanted some ice.
It's like,
I want to go
it's
skate.
like, everywhere else, it's like, when you go to, like, Italian restaurant, they have a little thing like, tell me when to stop.
Yeah.
And they got to Illinois, like, stop.
Whoever runs that shit, fuck you.
Yeah, fuck you, dude.
Whoever said stop as soon as the cheese grater came out, they're like, don't even get that near my plate, bro.
Fuck.
Not till next year.
Wait till, like, February, then we'll see. I was going to say, because we mentioned it, do the holiday vibes feel different in any way? And I obviously, we kind of mentioned that, but I'd say, yeah. It definitely, not even just from being a kid to an adult, but like just the feeling of Christmas, like the season.
Definitely in a bad way this year. It just like the whole spirit was gone. It was just like no one was.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I feel like because everybody was so happy going, like, I wouldn't say everyone's so happy, but like it felt like it was finally going back to normal, like halfway through 2021 of like, masks started to come off and people were like, damn, we can finally go to do stuff. And then right before the holiday season, boom. Right back on. You got to get your card out to fucking go into buildings and shit. Like,
yeah,
it kind of fucked it right before.
Omicron, bro.
Yeah,
Omicron.
I mean, whether we like it or not, it's a world we live in. It sucks.
Yeah. As much as fucking everyone hates talking about it, it's just
it's gonna be here for a while, dude. Just hop on the
there.
ride and enjoy the fucking show. It's gonna be a fucking.
That being said, that's all we're gonna say about it because we're not gonna be no news network. casting the shit out to you 24/7.
I'm not gonna pull up a fucking Tony Stark this bitch and whoop fucking pull up the stats and shit.
It's like they're always showing these charts and shit. It's like, no, we're not here to do that.
Nah, I don't want to do that.
We'll touch on it a little bit.
I'll talk about when new things come out and shit like that. Like big things, not like every other day when it's like, oh, somebody else got it. Nah, like if it's something big about it, sure, I'll mention it, but that's about it.
We got other shit to talk about.
Speaking of which, another big point about that is there's another version in France that just got discovered. I saw it on fucking Yahoo Mail or something the other day, which was like,
oh yeah,
I was like, come on, dude, like.
They're gonna name it like the Decepticon variant. It's gonna they keep giving them these cool
the dark
names.
side of the moon.
They keep giving them these cool names. COVID has to have less cool names.
Yeah, for real. It's not something that we want to be praised. We want to get rid of it.
Anyone who's watched This Is Important, the podcast, that was a reference from there. They did a whole episode of this podcast I watched called This Is Important.
Yeah.
The dudes from Workaholics, it was this TV show. They did a whole episode one of their episodes was like stop giving COVID variants cool names. And it was like they wanted to talk about all the new names they're gonna be getting, but
yeah. I don't know why they do that. It's got I don't know. Obviously they want it to be something that sticks, so obviously that's probably why they do it, but even then, I'm sure you could find something that sounds bad that would stick.
Yeah.
But,
name it
here we go again. Like,
Yeah,
fucking,
here we go
I don't
again,
know.
Varian.
Fucking hell. Oh, shit. And then the next one just go, here we go again. Just start making them meme names. I don't know, name them after memes. We'll remember
Yeah,
that
like the
shit.
bra variant.
Fuck. Just one name, just fuck. Damn it. Again? Is their name?
Oh, damn it, again?
Come on, this has got to stop. All these fucking names.
Instead, they're like, Autobots
Assemble.
roll out to defeat the Decepticon variant. It's like,
We got the Autobot vaccine version. We got the Decepticon variant. Start having,
Autobots
we got the Jedi
inject the vaccine.
we got the Sith variant.
Inject the vaccine into Megatron.
We got the Sith variant. Jesus Christ. What else we got? Fucking going back to the. Oh, hold on. We're gonna call. Hold on. Let's see. You're on the podcast. What's up? We're recording right now. I'll call you back when we're done. All right. Peace.
We're on the podcast. Bye bye.
All right.
See ya.
Well, what I was gonna say is going back to the holiday thing. Best gift that you remember getting, like, flat out, like one of the best. I mean, obviously some that we probably thought were the best when we were littler, but
Honestly, I really like this chain, and I got this Italian horn for it.
Mhm.
And I could see that becoming one of my favorite ones because this is something that like I always have on me.
Yeah, that's
and
still
it's
kind
more
of in
like
its
a
infancy type
symbolic
of thing.
Yeah, yeah. But it's gonna become like a
oh yeah,
symbolic thing.
that's gonna be one that you'll have
down the
for
line, so
whoever knows.
This
how
is
long.
up there for sure.
Yeah.
That's got to be my favorite one.
I'm
so
trying to
far,
think.
just
I
'cause of the-
think my favorite. Well, I mean, most recent gift. Well, that I think is like one of the best ones is probably my car. That's kind of one of my ones.
Yeah.
Last year, and then probably I would say, after that, might have been the PlayStation 4 when I got that thing because that was right around the holiday season. It was like November-ish, December.
Yeah, the Xbox
That-
One.
dude,
I remember
that
getting
era, like,
too. That
We
was
talked about it
great.
last time where like we felt like this year's like go around with the consoles and shit like that didn't really, feel as, crazy.
Yeah.
And like, looking back on the release of the PlayStation 4, dude, I spent so much time looking up trailers for the games that were coming out
Yeah.
and fucking the like press runs. I was like, dude,
I didn't
That'd
get
be one of the
I
best
didn't get my Xbox One until a year after it dropped.
but still, even
Which
though
was
you were fucking
It was
excited to
great
get it.
though because all these games are out now.
Yeah,
and
now you
it's
got all
like,
the games. You're like, damn, I can play anything.
I got my Xbox One. I got like, I think I got GTA 5 with it.
Dude, GTA 5 when it was on the 360 and the PS3, it was still good. It was.
Yeah, it
it's
was
been so
amazing.
good for so
and
long.
then playing it on the Xbox One was like crazy. It
Yeah.
was like, oh my, like all this.
Dude, this
new
is
stuff.
fucking
We had,
impressive. Like,
animals
holy shit.
and
Animals,
pre-roll.
fucking, dude, as stupid as it sounds, the lighting and shit, you're like, damn, this is
Yeah.
fucking crazy.
Yeah, it looks so much better. There's like, so much less buggy. Like
Like, we've experienced 3 generational games in our lifespan already, which that being like, well, actually 4, I'd say, with, well, it might even be more with all the Call of Duties, the original, like the earlier, like Black Ops 2, Black Ops 1.
if we're talking
Modern Warfare 2,
generational games, it's got to be like Fortnite,
Modern Warfare 2 for sure.
GTA.
GTA.
Yeah, Call of Duty is hard to pinpoint.
I
which
would say
one,
it's
though.
that group,
franchise.
that time period is the time
Yeah.
I would say. The time period itself, like the 2009 to like 13, 14 area. Like right there.
I feel like we can almost put Gmod in there.
I would. Dude,
Because
that
I played the
the amount of videos
Gmod.
and hours playing I had with Gmod, bro, was crazy. And that game still to this day, I could still sit down and have a fucking hell of a time on.
Yeah, we should
Trouble
go
in
in there.
Terrorist Town was
We should
fucking
go in there
awesome.
and sandbox with a bunch of mods.
Trouble in Terrorist Town was fucking awesome. I used to honestly, I would just be that one guy that like I was like obviously when I was first playing, I was a little kid, so I was just fucking shooting everybody. I didn't care, even if I was innocent, I was shooting
Yeah.
everybody. I did not care.
That's how it was when like we briefly played Among Us. If I was the killer, the imposter,
Dude, Among Us was a game that made me feel like that again. Like,
Yeah.
like that gave me that.
it was
vibe.
short lived, but
It was worth it. It was
alright,
only
yeah.
like $5. So who gives a fuck? Like,
Yeah.
it was fun. It was the thing that is so crazy is like that game came out like an absolute like wildfire out of nowhere.
Yeah, well, and what
It was out for like 2 years
what's
before.
kinda crazy is that like Trouble in Terrorist Town was that, but
Exactly that.
like more
More
more in depth,
and intense.
and it's like 10, 15 years older than fucking.
Yeah.
probably
I-
10. 10
yeah,
years,
probably about
closer
10.
to
It's probably
It's
around the same age as
10
CS and shit.
Yeah, 10 years older than Among Us, and for some reason Among Us is, I think just the simplicity of it is what.
Yeah, it's a simple.
got
It was
people.
simple in the fact that it was on every platform.
Yeah,
So
that's
it
true.
was so-
You had phone, you had computer.
Dude, if
you had-
Gmod, if just Trouble in Terrorist Town was able to be, well, like if Gmod and the developers like Valve and all that, they put that onto every platform, it would have done the same thing. It would have done the exact same thing.
Yeah.
There's no way it
Yeah.
couldn't have. It's just the accessibility was different back then versus now, which I'm not complaining about. Among Us again was fun as fuck. I do want to go back and try to play it again, but the only thing is I hate playing with randos.
Yeah.
I-
No,
I think
no.
if I'm not mistaken, I think they did add a form of like voice chat to the meeting things.
That voice chat changes the whole
That
game.
yeah, with randoms that completely changes
The
it.
text chat is like, because you
It's
can't
so bad.
tell if
Literally,
someone's lying. over
literally,
text
he did it.
chat.
All right, vote him out.
Yeah. That's
do
all
you
it
mean?
is.
Dude, I just what the like somebody. It could even be somebody watched him and they're just playing with their friend in randos, but they know each other, so they're like, I saw him kill him, but it was that guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And everybody just like they're like sheep, and they just think it's true. Like,
If you just say whoever did it, it's
Blue.
like, all right. Yeah.
all right, see you, Blue.
You're just going,
Blue sus.
and they're like, yeah, vote him off. Send him out.
The vote.
Oh, Spider Pig.
Yes, sir.
Porky.
Pork-
Or Peter Porker.
Peter Porker. Yes.
New Pork City. Or New York
Let's
City.
see. Funniest holiday memory? Sheesh. Or favorite holiday memory? One of the two. Like just doing something. Like it doesn't have to. It could be opening a gift or like hanging out with your family, whatever the hell it was. That's I just saw it come up here.
I'm gonna go with funniest. I can't really have a favorite,
I have a funny one. I have a good one.
but
Go ahead.
we always do brunch at this like buffet where it's unlimited, fucking everything.
Yeah.
Everything there is unlimited.
Mhm.
So, me and my cousin were there, and we go with like our moms or like my grandparents and whatever, and so they had like unlimited mimosas at this one.
Yeah.
And this
This
was
was
like
this year?
they
Or
had that
this
at this
before?
year, but this one was a little slower because they have like no one works.
Yeah.
Now.
Yeah.
They have barely. They're so understaffed. No one wants to fucking work.
Yeah. Especially on a holiday thing.
So they had like less people, but this one was like a couple years ago. It was before COVID too.
Yeah.
So this was like everything was peak performance. So we went to this place where they had the unlimited mimosas, and we had a couple to start,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then we kind of noticed like they're just coming through. Like now they'll be like, "Hey, do you want another one?" And you'll be like, "Yeah." At this one we were at, they would come every single champagne glass on the table. We would just pour, go all around the whole table, no matter who was sitting there, because they figured if someone goes to get their food, they want to come back and have one, so it's just there already.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're sitting there, we have like have like 5 or 6 from ourselves,
Yeah.
and we noticed like there's a couple other people, like obviously like my grandma and the older people are like tapping out, like they're done.
Yeah.
But their cups are still getting filled, so we like slide a couple of the
Thanks.
the
Like-
glasses
Like
over.
it's like over here, just like
Yeah, we're like,
don't
we
mind
slide
if
it
I
over.
do.
We're not gonna put it right in front of us because then they're gonna be like, they're gonna know,
Yeah.
and they're gonna stop filling. They'll be like, oh, those ones are done, because they're in the middle of the table. So we every time we go to get more food, we'd place them all out, come back, and we get like 3 each every single round. And we were just like, so every time we get a new round, we'd be like, all right, this first one we gotta slam it. So we go, just cheers, and then slam the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then it would like, we kept going with that. And so we're getting pretty tipsy, and the more tipsy you're getting, the easier it is to slam them. So we're just pulling them at one point because we got like 4 plates of food. Like at this last one, I got like 1 plate. I was done. I got like a couple little things after.
Mhm.
This one though, because all this like drinking and shit, we were just going
Just
through
going
it,
at
bro.
it.
So we went like 4 or 5 plates of food at this buffet. Then after that, we're like, all right, we're finally done eating. We got like everything. We tried like everything in this buffet. And so this one, we're just drinking. And that like everyone else is done with their food. They're like, all right, you guys want to be ready to go in like 5 minutes? And we're like, oh yeah, we're good. We can go in 5 minutes. I'm like, all right, speed round, let's go.
Oh
So
my
at this
God.
point, every
my
single one
God.
that's being placed, we're just 1, 2, 3.
Oh shit.
Like,
Yeah, that's gonna catch up.
yeah, and it was so like the whole car ride home, we're both like plastered. And then
I mean, With that much in you, probably.
But the good thing about like when you're drinking like champagne like that is it comes and goes like really
like
quickly.
waves and type shit.
So when we got home, we're decent. And then like maybe an hour or two after being home, we're fine. Like the problem is
it's not
you get a headache.
Yeah.
So
that's a pretty fast process to go through. Yeah.
It's like. So that was probably the funniest one, just like just
like
speed
fucking
round,
go,
let's go.
We gotta finish.
It's on Christmas Day.
It's like before you're like rushing out of the house eating your food, you're like, come on, just keep going, throwing them down. I think the funniest one that I have was my mom tells me about it all the time, and she always brings it up when we're talking about like what we did on like Christmas, like growing up, and like funny things that happen. I'll do my funniest one. I'll do my favorite one after that. I was little, right? Obviously, this is when I was younger, because they were talking about when I was like, it was a while ago, and this is rare because this rarely happens on Christmas. I was up after them, or I came out of my room after them at least. I don't know if I just woke up later or whatever, but they're out in the living room or they were coming out into the hallway. That our house was like my door was here, my parents' door was here, and there was like a hallway that went down to the middle. My sister's door was like right before you got to the end, and then it just opens up into the living room that we had. And they said, this is like really what my mom says every time. They said, basically, I walked out, saw all the presents, turned around and went back in my room. I just didn't even open them. Just walked out. I was like, oh, shit. And then just went back in. Like, she was like, I don't know if you were, like, overwhelmed with, like, what you saw or what happened, or, like, you just kind of walked out, looked around.
Like, mini Rajan, just like.
Right. Nope. It's like,
I'm out.
Like the video of that one like toddler where he like comes around the corner like this and like goes back like that. That's just what I always think of. But that was like the funniest one that I think I have in my head off the top. And then my favorite one, growing up and even more recently in recent years, obviously not now with COVID and everything, people are worried about stuff, which sucks. But we would go to my aunt's house and we play this game where basically you get 2 dice and you go around the table, right, to start. And you got to go around the table until, like, there's a pile of gifts, like a white elephant type of thing. Everybody brings a gift and puts it in the middle. And it's this big table. Obviously, it's like a couple of these together, like this way. It's like, side to side together. Yeah. So it makes like a big-ass square. And what happens is you start, and everybody rolls the dice. You try to get doubles, like 7, or I think it's a 1 and a 2 together. Which I don't know why the fuck that was 1. But anyway, you roll it, and if you get one of those, you grab one of the gifts from the middle, right? You put it in front of you. And the dice keep going around until all those gifts in the middle are gone. Once those are all gone, they put a timer on, I think it's like for like 2-3 minutes. And same thing, you go around rolling it. Now, if you get one this time, you could take somebody else's gift, right? Mm-hmm. This game got so intense. Like, even the little kids would get it. Like, this was meant for, like, the adults. The little kids are, like, at the table, like, yeah, screw you. Like, yo, what's going on? So, like, they're, like, rolling the dice, right? And the funny thing was, there was some of the, like, family members, they didn't care who they were taking the gift from. So if it was a little kid, they didn't give a shit. They were taking that shit anyway. They saw a gift, they're grabbing it. They don't get anything else from the day, for the most part. Most people get, like, a gift card or, like, a small gift from somebody or whatever. Yeah. And so I remember, I think it was one of my uncles or whatever. I don't know who. It was one of my cousins, right? And I obviously I don't really get upset by it. It's whatever. I know it's a game, and I was about the same age or whatever at the time as my cousin, and so he rolls the dice, gets one of the fucking doubles or whatever the fuck it was, right? And he goes over to he reaches across right in front of my cousin and just boom, takes this big ass box. So my cousin's like thinking like this is some like fucking holy grail in there. My uncle just grabs it and puts it in front of him, and you see my cousin just. bursting out into tears. I was like, even being there, like I felt bad, but I was trying not to laugh. I was like, I'm over there on the side, like, like the fucking long like pause. Like he did like one of those long pauses that kids do when they're like crying. They're like, and it's like. That's gotta be one of my favorite memories, like of just watching something happen, like from the outside and just like you're like watching it and you're like, oh, this is gonna be good. But yeah, that was the best one I can remember off the top of my head. That's my favorite one at least. But that game even now, like I would still like, I'm like we haven't played it in a couple years, obviously with COVID and everything. That's the only place we ever play it, but I could see that being played for many other things. That would make it very interesting. Yeah. But that's really the big one. But let's see. Obviously we discussed it, but I was gonna say one thing that I really missed was like the drive home from those parties as a kid. Even like the drive there, it felt like such a longer drive than it is now. Yeah. Like knowing how far it is. Like I thought like like the edge of Niles.
That's
was
what
so
I was
far.
about to say.
I feel like it was so far.
My aunt's house we go to is in Niles.
Yeah, it's like right before the city for me.
Which is about 15 minutes. We live like 2 minutes from each other.
Yeah.
So it's probably 20 minutes from us.
At the most.
Yeah.
On a bad day.
Yeah.
That felt like a fucking eternity.
But when we drive that as kids just riding in the car, that would feel like
Dude, I felt like I was staring at the sky for hours.
Like,
Like, dude, when are we going to be there? Holy shit. Like, the farthest, I think my aunt's house, the one that we played the dice game at, was, the edge of Niles, like, / Park Ridge, like, right next to Pickwick in that area.
Yeah.
It's, like, not far at all.
Yeah.
And,
It's
dude, I swear that drive felt like an absolute mission.
yeah, we go to our aunt's in Bensonville sometimes too.
Yeah,
which
yeah.
is like the
My
same
grandma's live
distance.
over there. Yeah.
It's like that felt like forever, especially because you're driving along the airport, O'Hare.
Oh, yeah,
Airport.
oh, yeah.
Like that just makes it feel so much
Like,
longer.
damn,
'cause
this
you're just
is-
like, because O'Hare's just huge.
O'Hare's huge.
It's
That's
just
a big-ass
fucking
airport.
unit, bro.
That place
O'Hare
is huge.
Airport is like our whole town.
Yeah.
Des Plaines is the size
Of O'Hare.
of
itself.
O'Hare Airport.
It's scary how big O'Hare is.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
you can cross O'Hare and be in like this damn near the city of Chicago.
yeah,
Like,
it's nuts.
going into obviously what the background is here, and if you're watching right now or listening, if you're on, because we are uploading this to Spotify as we always do. We're gonna talk about Spider-Man. So if you haven't seen it yet, one, you were trying not to see it at this point. Like, it's been what, 2 or 3 weeks. It came out December 17th, something like that, right?
Yeah.
And it is now January 8th or 6th. Yeah. If you haven't seen Spider-Man by this time, I don't know how you didn't do that. It's kind of hard to not go there if you want to see the movie for real.
Yeah, realistically, anyone who's like super worried about it getting spoiled has gone and seen it. At this
Hopefully,
point.
if you haven't, then just go see it. Like,
Yeah.
at this point, there's no way to avoid it. Like, everything on social media is related to Spider-Man, whether you follow it or not. So, yeah, we're gonna get into it now. And obviously, casual moviegoers, if you haven't seen it yet and you still don't want it to be spoiled, obviously skip this part.
We're gonna put we'll
put a timestamp or some shit in the
link
description so
or
you guys can
in the fucking
know
description.
about it.
It'll
but-
be all good.
Yeah, but anyway, Spider-Man, what a fucking masterpiece! Holy moly,
That's got to be like the best movie I've ever seen.
that's if my top 2 movies right now for superhero, or top 3 would be Endgame. Well, this is not in order, but this is just the top 3: Endgame, No Way Home, and Into the Spider-Verse. That's it. That's the top 3 I have right now.
Yeah, for superheroes, I don't know. It's got to be. I think I like Infinity War a little bit more than Endgame.
Yeah, well, yeah, Infinity War definitely was, the impact of it was a little bit stronger. Yeah.
So probably that one, Spider-Man: No Way Home, and then I don't know, probably
Dark Knight or something?
Spider-Man 2.
Oh, Spider-Man 2, yeah, hell
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, I think this movie I don't know how it didn't, but it easily could have gotten 100 on ratings as far as Spider-Man films go.
I got
Still
94 and 99.
still to this day, oh, there's Spider-Man. Still to this day, Into the Spider-Verse is the only one to get 100, I believe. Out of Spider-Man films at least. And I think it's pretty crazy that still holds up. If that's true, I could have swore that's what it was. But geez, the amount of detail and reference and
Everything was executed perfectly in that
It was
movie. It was
absolutely, it wasn't like a cash grab. It wasn't overblown with trying to fill holes in. It wasn't just a nostalgia trip. It was, even though it obviously gave a lot of people nostalgia, the focus still wasn't just those 2 characters being brought back, and those 2 characters being obviously Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man, and Andrew Garfield, who doesn't get enough love as of being Spider-Man itself, which is something I want to talk about on here, obviously, because we talk about it all the time.
yeah.
But as far as being Spider-Man goes, I think we both agree at this, with that Andrew Garfield had the best form of Spider-Man, like being in the suit, being the hero.
Yeah, Andrew Garfield's the best suit Spider-Man.
Yeah, and then I would say, as far as being Peter Parker, it's easily Tobey Maguire.
Tobey,
He's
the
just
nerd-
a nerd.
just the awkwardness
Yeah, he's
that-
just weird. He's a weird
It's
dude.
like perfect. It was just like
you don't. There's even him learning how to shoot his webs, and like he wasn't like, like Andrew Garfield when he makes his web, he's like, nah, he's just some some kid. He's just a kid.
Yeah. And I think what makes like Toby relatable as a Peter Parker is him being like, obviously he's smart.
Yeah.
But like I feel like with Andrew Garfield,
He was
and
cool.
Tom
He seemed too
Holland.
cool.
And they were both like super fucking genius in their movies.
I would say the thing about that I do like about Tom Holland the most though is that he is a perfect mix of both.
Yeah.
He has a very good dynamic at being both.
Yeah.
Because there's times where he seems like a super whiz and like he's like like kind of like a popular dude, but then there's times where he seems like a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
And he just like he's like the loser of the group.
That's the thing that I think made Toby like relatable though for people.
Yeah,
It's
he was
he's
always
average
just
Joe.
a-
He
yeah.
doesn't know what he wants to do like with his life. He's just
Right.
kind of doing his thing.
They show him going through
trying
life
to
normally.
figure out what's going on. It was a little different with like
Andrew Garfield.
Andrew and Tom. They both are like fucking genius, like crazy smart for their age.
Yeah.
So they were still relatable. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But most of us watching these movies are not like gonna build a fucking like
A web shooter and fucking
Yeah.
swing from buildings and shit.
like no. we're
I
not-
think the thing is though that makes Tom Holland a little more his Spider-Man a little more relatable than Andrew Garfield's is that his was more or less he had help for it.
yeah.
It wasn't like he just knew the shit right away.
Yeah.
I think the and that's where I say like they kind of structured him a little better with being like Tony Stark's apprentice and type of shit. He had access to shit to
A lot
help
of
him.
people don't like that. It's the fucking Iron Boy Jr. thing. I thought it was great. I loved it.
I think it's smart because we've always had Spider-Man where he doesn't have a mentor to follow.
Mm-hmm.
He's always just his dad, or not his dad, well technically his dad by law and whatever, but his Uncle Ben is always just boom dad or whoever it is in their life is dad.
Yeah.
And they just kind of have to figure it out on their own, but now he kind of had like a guidance form
Mhm.
of guidance
With
and
Happy and
Happy and
right, Tony
obviously Tony Stark and even all the other people in the Avengers kind of almost coached him into being
mm-hmm.
the Spider-Man in No Way Home, because when all those Avengers are not there, he finally, that whole scene where they're talking about, he was a part of a team, and he realizes, this is a situation where these two guys don't know what the fuck a team is, and he does. He understands, what he's been through
Yeah.
and what he has to do to help them understand how to beat this group of, villains.
Then we get that awesome sequence of them doing
that-
this swing.
Dude,
Bro,
that
was-
fucking swing, I don't know if you noticed it, but there's a part of it where they come around the corner and he grabs them
swing
both.
off of each
Yo,
other,
that shit was
yeah.
sick as fuck.
That was the best.
That was the
dude,
best fucking thing
That
I've
was
ever
the best
seen.
scene in cinema.
That was
for me.
that part right there alone, like showed how much like they were like an actual like team of like Spider-Man. Like he was like, oh shit, they're not gonna make this swing. Let me pull them and fling them forward.
Yeah.
He could have
So it turns
single-handed.
around.
He could have single-handedly missed the swing himself for pulling them forward.
Yeah.
That was awesome. That was so cool.
And it's like that is I'd say top 3 scenes for me are that one, and the one where I really like the one where Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man saves
Dude,
MJ.
I'm not gonna lie. That part hit. I was like,
Yeah,
damn, bro.
That
That
one
was
like
fucking
crazy. I was like,
Ah,
because
bro.
I saw
Because
as soon
I
as
kind of saw it coming, but like at the same time, I was like, damn, I hope Tom catches her. Like,
Oh, yeah, remember we were watching the trailer and it showed the scene where Tom's reaching out,
yeah.
and I was like, what if he misses and Andrew Garfield
Yeah, we
comes
literally
in and
said it. I was
saves
like,
him?
but the thing is, even
So
though we said that, like, we still want to happen. We're like, oh shit, like he's gonna have to
Yeah.
jump. But like the way they did it for that one, it wasn't like his own fault that he missed. He couldn't get the catch. Like he got literally swept out of the air, which made it even more unexpected because like the whole time it's like, oh, he's gonna get her. Like there's no
Yeah.
way, and then just boom, last second gets swept away.
Goblin just
And then you just fucking see him. Let's go! Everyone in the theater's like, "Let's go!" He fucking grabs. I was like, "Yo, this is fucking awesome, bro. That was a fucking."
and I
awesome
like how it shows like how he learned from the last
mistake
time.
because he didn't focus on the swing.
Yeah,
he didn't focus on the
he was like
momentum.
instead of trying to catch her with the web, catch her with myself first, then get the web.
Yeah.
Like, it's like
Because he could have done that in the last one too.
yeah.
There was plenty of things he could have used to push himself. Because even in Tobey Maguire's movie, we got to remember the Gwen in his universe, the same thing happened. But he jumped off of something. Remember, he flips the cement block over from the building and flings himself down.
Yeah, and it shows like even though like he hit her with the web, obviously like Gwen Stacy and Amazing
he
Spider-Man
caught her,
broke
but-
her back,
Yeah.
but I think it shows like you could see when he jumps off of a couple things, pushes some debris out of his way.
Yeah.
In the new one, in No Way Home,
Yeah.
I think he knows like that web hitting her in the Amazing Spider-Man was pure luck because it shows it like going right through debris and stuff. I think he like that was another thing he learned. He's like, if I try to go for this web, I may not
miss.
get that lucky again.
I could
and hit
miss. Yeah.
because there's so much shit in the way.
I have to go myself.
like,
I have to put myself first.
On top of already being like I could catch her and then the force is gonna
Yeah, break her back or fucking whatever the hell happens.
because the difference is like just from like I know like Marvel's not it's
One
not,
thing. Oh yeah. Go ahead.
it's not like realistic by any means. It's
Yeah.
not supposed to be, but from a physics standpoint, right? You think of this this one web holding her from this one point from her.
It's
like,
gonna pull that
from here
it's
and
gonna
hold it from the back.
yank it from.
This is gonna come out. You're holding her. You're like got the
That's
whole
your full security.
things,
You're catching.
and then
somebody.
the web slowly lowers you down. You take all this force, distribute it evenly across their whole body.
Yeah, and the ground,
and it's
obviously.
like,
What I thought during that original like catch scene is that he could have even like, because there's a point where he's in broad day, like he's like wide, like opens up for a second. He could even just made like, you know how he catches himself in webs. He just makes a fucking like actual web across the bottom of it.
Yeah,
and she would just landed in it because he did it. Because we've seen him do it before, and then we saw Toby do it with the fucking taxi with MJ, with when she was gonna fucking fall out. I think, or was it MJ or was it Gwen Stacy in that? No, it wasn't
Taxi. It was
yeah,
MJ.
yeah, I thought so. Yeah, the same thing.
That was
you know?
Spider-Man 3 when he was fighting Venom.
Same thing. Using a bunch of webs to just make a fucking like net.
Yeah.
I think it just shows the difference in like how they thought, like as each you know, and obviously with the writing, and obviously they did it that way for a reason, but it just shows like each individual one of them is different. Like we saw Tom was going for the direct catch. He was gonna try to grab with one hand and try to like, you know, scoop her in or whatever the fuck. It's just, I thought it was just really interesting how they, you know, managed to, you know, kind of finish off all the things that we remember seeing the beginning of.
Yeah.
Just
all the parallels in that movie.
The best was the My Back. That was fucking awesome. That was awesome. It was so relatable too, because the back cracking. I was like, I've done that before. Like I know what that is. Like,
see, I got this middle back thing.
He's like, yeah, you want me to crack it? Like, he's like, yeah, would you? It was such a relatable scene.
It's like cool seeing them. They all finally have someone else who can relate to them.
Yeah.
Spider-Man shit.
Yeah, I think that's so cool.
Like,
my biggest thing that really like was like, whoa, was the fucking reference to Miles Morales.
Yeah.
I was like, no way they about to do this right here, bro.
Jamie Foxx's Electro is just like, oh, you're doing all this stuff for the community.
Oh, you'd be black.
I just thought you were gonna be black.
He's like, I'm sure there's one out there. Yes.
I love how
yes.
when he said that, Andrew Garfield says, yeah, I'm sorry, man. It's like,
damn.
I'm sure there's some black Spider-Man out there somewhere. And then it's like
everyone at that point. I mean, at this point, if you don't know who Miles Morales is, you don't really watch or follow Spider-Man like that.
Miles Morales.
Miles Morales, that's the guy. I promise you, I don't know if I was the only one, but I looked around a little bit to see if anybody like picked up on that. I knew I wasn't the only one who saw that. But I think that is the most, like, I guess, prime example of how Marvel, even in their movies that aren't theirs, like those two movies, like Tobey Maguire's and Andrew Garfield, are not Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Those are out of sight of the MCU.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's not anymore.
Well, not, but you know what I mean? They're original films.
Yeah.
It shows how much they really pay attention to movies that involve their characters, regardless if it's theirs or not.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's really crazy.
Yeah, their attention to detail at Disney is...
It's fucking
Marvel.
nuts. I don't know. Like I said it earlier, and I say it again. This is the peak of fucking superhero movies.
And it's like, and it's been pretty good with Star Wars too. I think just like when Disney acquired Marvel and Star Wars, it was around the same time.
Yeah. It was like one after the other.
They at first they like didn't really know how to handle those genres, the sci-fi, the superheroes.
Yeah, and they figured it out pretty quickly.
Yeah, but like look at Star Wars, the sequel trilogy. It just was like they tried to make it a Disney story, like a cookie cutter Disney story.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it didn't work out. I think now you could see the clear difference in a Disney movie versus Marvel and Star Wars. They all three are so distinct when at first they tried to put like the Disney romanticized story spin on Star Wars and Marvel, and it just didn't work out.
Honestly.
And they realized that, and they turned it around and figured it out quick. They got the right people. They got Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni.
Fucking God.
Those guys being involved in Star Wars.
Absolute legends.
Was the turning point entirely for
absolute legends.
It's like they came together for Mandalorian, working together for Boba Fett,
and everything that they've been doing. I mean, obviously Dave Filoni. I don't know, he doesn't really work on the Marvel stuff as much as Favreau does.
Favreau's in them.
Jon Favreau is not only directing and like helping figure these things out, he's in them. Yeah, that's the craziest part. He's
acting too.
Like, who is this guy? This guy can't miss. Like, I don't know, man.
Dave Filoni's just like, you watch like those videos of him doing the stuff for Star Wars. The man is just like,
he's dedicated. That is his life. Yeah, that is his life's work right there.
It's like he's in the story. Like he that's
is
how,
immersed in his own work, which is great.
Yeah.
It's how you want it to be. There's some something about Spider-Man like No Way Home is that's the first like superhero movie like besides, I think Infinity War might be the only other one where I've really felt like emotional like distraught. Like I was like, damn, like this is really hitting. Like there's a couple times in there where I was like, damn, this might make me cry. Like there was at least 3 or 4 times in there where I was like, shit, like my throat's a little tight here. Let's get hot here.
The ending, bro.
The ending was the one like, I was pretty close. Like
he goes in there and he's like,
if that ending would have gone any longer, I probably would have cried.
Yeah, he was like, has this whole plan, like his script and everything, and he's just like, he sees how happy MJ and
Ned are. Yeah, it was fucking crazy.
And he sees like, he had that moment where he was like, maybe they were better off without me.
Yeah, which kind of sucks. Which
I think
really
he's
sucks.
I think in the coming movies he's gonna realize that's not true, because even though
it may seem like that, there's other
even
stuff.
Though on surface level they got rejected from their college, they have all this media attention. On an emotional level, I think he's gonna realize that there's nothing. Yeah, the whole like
no college entrance or acceptance.
Him and MJ are never gonna find a pair like that. Like. No.
There's no college acceptance or forgetting or whatever that can replace
Ned being like, them all kind of being like rejects a little bit.
Yeah.
Ned's never going to have a friend like Peter
who actually relates with and actually like understands
and grew up with like there's going to be some way where he's going to have to
I think it's going to come down to the necklace, cuz that still has you didn't just get that,
Yeah.
Like you weren't thinking of going to buy that. You didn't like she wasn't thinking of buying that thing. He got that specifically because he remembers what she said.
You know what I think is going to happen? I just thought of this. Doctor Strange might have done something to that necklace. And Ned has magic.
Oh, yeah.
I just realized
Ned does have magic. Hold on.
We might be onto something here.
Things just got interesting.
Dude, what if there's some sort of strange spell on that necklace? Ned still has magic. He just doesn't know who Peter Parker is.
Yeah.
What if Ned does something? Remember when he when he like brings the other 2 Peters in, he accidentally discovers it.
Yeah.
What if him and MJ are doing something, he accidentally does something, the necklace like glows or something, and he's like,
what the fuck was that?
What?
What?
And then all of a sudden
do that again.
Do that, and then it's like some.
It shows like a fucking like a hologram shit or something.
Yeah.
Like some Doctor Strange spell shows like all the shit that they like, it revives their memories. Just them 2.
That would be.
Dude. It's got to come down to the necklace. That's the only thing that I've put together that
it has to be the necklace, and it has to be.
It has to be Ned.
The only way they can remember is through sorcery, like
the only thing. Well, that and the things that have meaning in their life, but they don't know the meaning to. There's only one trace that it can go back to, and that's him.
Because the whole like altering the spell thing, I think Strange did something to that last spell.
Yeah, because that end game or not end game, that fucking end credit scene shows it even says you tampered with the the reality of things and like shit like that.
Yeah.
Like the little background voiceovers and shit. They're talking about like tampering with reality and like you did some spells that are borderline dark magic type shit.
Yeah.
So I think this next Doctor Strange film is probably what's gonna start to hint at it.
Yeah. I think so.
I think that and maybe even part of Venom, because we might get a post-credit scene in that one. That's what I'm waiting for. I don't give a fuck about the movies. Just give me the post-credit scenes. I just need to see the random fill-ins that they give us, because honestly, that's where the details come into play.
Yeah.
Those post-credit scenes give a lot of information.
I don't think like the stuff we were all talking about. I don't think that'll happen in the very next movie.
No. Oh hell
no. I think
it
has to happen in the second one, because if there's going to be another trilogy,
there's confirmed 3 more. Yeah. He signed off for 3 more.
I feel like if they introduce that idea, them finding out who Peter is again, bringing them back into his life in the 3rd movie would be kind of like too late.
Yeah, it's got to be the second. It could be the end, towards the end where they start to realize on the first one. It could be towards the end where they start to like realize it.
Yeah.
But by 2, they got to know.
Yeah, because that's
3's got to be the catalyst event.
As much as I love the trilogy they have now with Tom Holland, the one thing I didn't like is how long it took MJ and Peter to start actually like
interacting like a couple type of
thing.
They
it was building up in 2, but they really only like were a couple at the very end.
I do, yeah.
And then,
I agree
and then
with
by
that.
the end of No Way Home, she forgets about him. So I think they could have
sped it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, because by the time she realized it, it was almost the end of Far From Home, and then No Way Home, it's like, all right, she fully knows, but never mind, not anymore. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
So if they're gonna bring her back into Peter's life, which I think that inevitably they will,
Yeah.
unless this is the thing about Zendaya not doing more movies or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
If she's gonna be in more movies with Marvel, I feel
Well, she's still gonna be in movies. Why? What happened? Was she supposed to? I didn't.
No,
hear
I'm
about
just
that.
saying. I'm just thinking. Maybe they're setting it up so that if
She
God
decides not
forbid
to.
she decides not to, they can roll with it.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's
I think that because I've watched some press runs and like interviews with them, they all seem to like genuinely love the shit.
yeah.
Like they like this seems like a franchise where they would be happy spending the rest of
Mhm.
their career in or whatever the fuck. Obviously they're young, so they're like 25 at the
Yeah.
most, right? Where they could see themselves being for a long time. But I personally think that I do like that they made it so that the friends had to like figure it out. Like he didn't like tell them or anything.
Mhm.
Obviously, you know, he told them eventually. He's like, I'm Spider-Man. This is that.
To the
But,
next
like,
scene where
Ned was just like,
he's holding the Lego Death Star and he's like drops
oh,
it.
shit. And then the mom goes, what the fuck?
Yeah, because Peter has no shirt on, he's just in his underwear with Ned, and they're like, I love that shit. Like with May, rest in
Yeah.
peace.
Yeah,
And
facts. Rest in peace, May. Yo, that one, I almost cried at that one. I was
yeah,
like,
that was
fuck,
bad.
bro. Like,
It was so funny though. Every time like she walks in on Peter, it looks all weird because he's trying to disguise,
yeah.
get
Spider-Man.
rid of Spider-Man.
The one in that movie.
She
No
always
Way Home.
thinks it's something sexual. She's always like,
yeah, like even in the scene when they got caught, it was MJ and him in the room. The noises leading up to it. There was no way you couldn't, like, if you're a parent, there's no way you're not thinking that's what's going on.
yeah.
You're like, oh my god, and then you just walk in, he's got no shirt. You're like, what the fuck? Like, yo, what are you doing?
Yeah,
Like,
that actually cracked me up when
dude, I thought that was so funny because I was like, see, this is a situation that could really happen to somebody, like where your parents walk in on you or some shit. But I thought what was so funny about it was that the scene after when the helicopter's outside and you see them like the cameras like going through all the fucking living room and you hear them in this like the background like it has nothing to do with sex. Like what do you? I'm just like I was like,
Peter, you could be more open with.
this has nothing to do with sex though. He's like a real conversation you have with your parents or something like that. It was cool. I thought that they were making it super relatable scenes. Like even in Marvel's such fantasy, far fetched, you know, ideas, they still try to make their stuff relatable.
Yeah, especially with Spider-Man because
Yeah.
like as much as we all love the Captain Americas and the Iron Mans,
Yeah.
like how much can you relate to Iron Man? He's
a millionaire or
billionaire,
Whiz.
trillionaire, whatever.
Billionaire
he
with
is.
science whiz
Yeah.
who created his own fucking spacesuit. Like he can fly around and shoot people with. What the fuck?
Then you have like Captain America. He's he's a
A
little
war
more
hero.
to the heart, but he's like 40s war hero.
The
It's like-
40s war hero
like-
who comes out of a fucking machine.
He-
Let's fucking
he
go.
grew up. His growing up was none of our lifetimes.
Deadass.
But then there's Peter Parker, where every version of Peter Parker is based on modern day. So
Modern day teenager.
yeah, so it's like we get to relate to whatever one is in our modern day.
Yeah.
So
I think one thing I will say about relatable characters, the one thing that I feel like what made, and this is for a completely different movie, but for Black Panther specifically, the thing that made, and it's not even Black Panther that I'm talking about, that's the character that's relatable. It's fucking what's his name, Killmonger, who's relatable. He came from the fucking like a random bureau in New York and fucking busted his ass to fucking go just to fight somebody. Like he's more relatable than anybody in that
Yeah.
fucking movie. Like he's from a random hood in New York, fucking works his ass off to make it to the service, get in the Secret Service or whatever the fuck, SEALs and all that shit. Just to fucking fly his ass over and try to kill somebody. That's more relatable than any of the other characters in that movie.
yeah, it's just it's more relatable. But like with Peter Parker, it's just like
He's just the closest thing to a regular guy.
He's a kid too.
I'd say
so
besides
it's-
Ant-Man. Ant-Man's pretty relatable. He's a regular dude, you know. He's a
yeah,
little bit older,
Yeah, he's
and it's more modern day. But
he's like I can imagine like being a dad watching Ant-Man and being like,
dude, I can do that.
yeah, now this is more relatable.
I can do
So,
that. Yeah, like you know what I mean. Like
right now, like Spider-Man hits home a lot.
It's the
because
closest
he's
thing to
around
us.
our age.
Yeah, yeah.
He's it's the closest to our age out of all of those superhero movies.
yeah.
So, yeah, that's why he's.
I
it's
think
home a lot.
I think they've like Spider-Man itself. Even when I'm older, I feel like Spider-Man will always be so relatable because of how realistic. Like as far as his character, like himself, like being Peter Parker is. That's the most relatable person out of any hero that we've ever experienced.
Yeah, and also he's like, obviously he's like in great shape and has all this like, and the Spider-Man has like super strength and stuff, but he's not some like six
not like
foot
a
nine absolute unit,
Yeah,
super,
let's fucking
super
go.
soldier. Like
He's he's like a normal build. Like obviously he's a little after he gets bit by a spider, he's a little ripped, but
yeah.
for the most part, he's the
He's
average
not
guy.
like Thor with this like long blonde hair,
Yeah,
and he's, like,
this
huge
fucking
and this
fantasy
big
dude.
armor.
Yeah,
Yeah, the fantasy guy, like you said. He's not like Captain America or his super serum, like giant fucking like
massive unit. Just let's fucking go.
goes from like anorexic skinny to like giant fucking
bodybuilder ripped.
He's like a lean, good, good shape, just
dude.
skinny kid who
likes video games and fucking Legos.
Yeah,
That's relatable as hell. You can't. It doesn't get much better than that. I mean, and I think that's what makes, I think, I'd say for us specifically, or most people, Spider-Man's very relatable. But I think that there's a character that almost everybody can relate to in some way in the Marvel universe, and I think that's what makes it so much. That's me personally. Not only with their, movie wise, but things outside of even reading about the characters, it makes them so much more relatable than anything that like DC's ever made.
Yeah.
As much as I like some of the heroes in DC, none of them feel like something that you could relate to.
Yeah,
it's
and same thing with Star Wars. There's relatable characters.
The character arcs is what's relatable, not the characters
but
themselves.
Realistically, like just everything, the setting, all of that stuff makes it feel like it's not real. But that's part of the beauty of Star Wars. It's this whole world. Like
it's what Star Wars did so well is they took realistic concepts and put them into a non-realistic setting.
Yeah,
which makes it relatable, but not at the same time.
Yeah, but that's why Marvel's much more relatable,
because they took the realistic scenarios and just left them in.
Don't get me wrong, I would say I'm a bigger Star Wars fan than Marvel overall.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of relatability, Marvel's like it's set on Earth.
Yeah, it's not like in
New York
far away or some shit.
Yeah, it's
right here. It's our backyard. Like
well, yeah, a lot
for
of
all I know,
like,
I open the window, fucking Spider-Man swinging by.
Looking like Spider-Man Homecoming. The scene where he's swinging through a suburban neighborhood going to a house party.
It was the Ferris Bueller recreation.
Yeah.
Dude, he's literally going through. Somebody could quite literally, obviously if Spider-Man was real, you could literally open your back door and some spider dude comes flinging through you. What the
Yeah, I really liked that scene specifically because this is like one of the only times we're not seeing him swing through skyscrapers and
well, that's the one thing that the reason, and we talked about it in our Discord, the reason that Spider-Man never got into the whole, when they talked about their favorite places to sit when they would go, to think, he didn't have a big building because he never moved to the city.
Yeah.
He never got that experience.
That
happened right at the end, right when we saw at the end of Spider-Man. Yeah, so now we'll see that.
And Tom Holland's Spider-Man is his place to go is on top of the school.
That's the biggest thing he knew.
This maybe 3-story building.
That's what he knew. That was his spot.
So he went there, and
that's why I thought it was so cool because now we're gonna be able to see his experience of going to the city and maybe getting into the whole photography regular Spider-Man thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm interested to see what this adult Spider-Man is. The thing I thought another part that really was kind of unfortunate was that Happy had no idea who he was. He didn't even know who that
really
one was
sad.
Damn, bro. That was the closest thing to a dad that he had at that point. I was like, damn, that really sucked. Cause I was like, as much
it's how did you know her? It's
what? You're fucking hell, this kid's gonna go through depression.
How did I know her? You know her from me.
What the you were in my house. What do you mean? That's the one thing I didn't really understand. Is I get everybody has to forget Peter, but dude, you were in my house. What do you mean you forgot me? At least I think at least Happy gets the loophole.
What the someone out
dude,
there?
You're in my house. You were smashing my hands. Fuck you. What you mean?
I saw this one TikTok about not this means that everything that happened between Tony and Peter, now Tony doesn't even know about it. Even though he's dead, he never knew about it technically now. So it's
oh, bro,
he's dead. So
that means the entire Avengers don't know about him.
Yeah, but when they mentioned Tony Stark, if he were to be alive, he wouldn't even know.
Yeah.
Anything that happened, he that version of Tony Stark never knew Peter, never knew who he was. They just knew Spider-Man. So it's all the shit they went through was
oh, that's rough.
Yeah, I looked at it and I was like,
fuck.
That's true, but at the same time, does the spell cover the past, or is it just from here on out they don't know you anymore?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
This point in time,
but if that was the case, Happy would know him.
No, but I think this was kind of a gray area with the whole spell. I think his whole history isn't gone, but now just everyone's forgot about him.
Being
So
Spider-Man.
yeah, everyone's forgot about Peter. So it's like no one knows who Peter is,
But they know who Spider-Man is.
but it doesn't erase what happened in the past. You know what I'm saying?
So they still have memory of the part of it?
They don't remember it, but it still happened.
Oh,
It
yeah.
happened, but now everyone forgot about it.
Yeah.
Because some people were
So
saying,
that's
like,
why that's
so
where
did that
that's
just
where
not
MJ's
happen?
memory would have to be refreshed. It'd be like a concussion almost. You have to like
Yeah.
kind of like kickstart it.
Yeah, but I think it's going to be more of a magic
Oh.
thing. I don't think it's like stored in anyone's
I think it's in the
brain.
necklace. I think it.
Yeah, that's what I'm
how it
saying.
is.
It's got to be a magic thing
Yeah,
if they're ever going
I
to
think so.
remember.
I think I mean, we've gotten pretty much through everything that we could have thought of.
Yeah.
But I think this is a way we could kind of close it out. Or just go ahead and throw this out.
I will never forget these words. With great power comes great responsibility.
See you guys on the next one.
Peace out.